Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolberger and welcome to this week's Middle East Update. It's the week of July 14th. And again, you probably know by now, in order to access all of the information, because I'm only able to cover just about half of it today, go to our website at holygroundexplorations.com, click on Kafir, and you can get the whole PDF PowerPoint. So take advantage of that. Let's jump right in this week and look at this week's headlines. A truce has been brokered by the U.S. and Russia in southern Syria. At this point in time, it's still holding. It's meant to help growing concerns by neighboring Israel and Jordan about Iran. It's about their ambitions of, and again, kind of putting themselves in that vacuum as ISIS is driven out. And so we'll see how that holds. Again, Israel's made it clear that they'll never allow Iran to have any sort of long presence or long-term presence or Hezbollah along the border of the Golan. The second thing's, get ready. Did you know that today the representatives of the Quartet of the Middle East peace negotiations have gotten together once again? Yeah, what a gang. The UN, the European Union, the United States, and Russia powwowed together in Jerusalem for the first time since Trump's been in office. So again, no big surprise, but don't be disappointed if nothing comes out of this. You heard it first from Kafir. All right, last up, boy, are we getting along quite well, and and we'll be tolerant with one another. Speakers at the New York City Al-Quds, or that's the Arabic for Jerusalem Day rally, declared what? U.S. being the #1 terrorist. Where was this again? Yeah, New York City. And then they're chanting that the U.S. is the #1 terrorist. And then, listen carefully, Israel, go to hell. That's the rally in Times Square, New York. And the vicious attacks never stop. And note that those attacks are always combined, Israel as well as the United States. And then, we've talked about it. It's hard to believe that it actually happened, but yes, the latest UNESCO resolution has passed, declaring the Cave of the Patriarchs in Hebron as a Palestinian heritage site. According to Netanyahu, it's completely delusional, I think is his word. And Israel is going to cut out an additional $1 million from its UN membership and transfer the funds to the establishment of the Museum of the Heritage of the Jewish People in Hebron. He goes on to say, this UNESCO denial of Israeli presence in Hebron is just, it's unfathomable. We can't even comprehend how this could come about. And so he informed the cabinet of what his plans were. Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman came on and suggested that, Israel just needs to leave UNESCO, and because these results are absolutely horrifying. You might have seen pictures of Netanyahu in the Knesset with a kippah on, just simply reading from Genesis, where Abraham went to buy the field of Machpelah for his wife's burial. Once again, UNESCO has taken the Bible and thrown it in the garbage dump. Well, on a more upbeat side, the Prime Minister Narendra, I think that's how you say his name, Modi, from India, visited Israel, and well received. And I think part of that reception was, did you know that Modi stands out to Israel, not just because he's the first Indian Prime Minister to visit, but also as a prominent world leader. He was willing to skip the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah, thereby removing what kind of come into place as the automatic bracket that's attached to any foreign visitors. Any foreign visit that comes to Israel absolutely has also included Ramallah, not so with Modi. Very interesting. We talked last week about the Church for Christ, 900,000 members plus, divesting from Israel. So this week, unfortunately, happens to be the Mennonite Church of the U.S. They voted on Thursday to sell off its holdings in companies that profit what the church described as Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories, thus becoming the latest American church group to do so. The Mennonite Church is about 75,000 strong. So when you combine that just over the last 2 weeks, think about this, 1 million Christians have chosen to turn their backs on Israel and choose Palestine over Israel. It's the world in which we're living. There's a weapons factory. We've talked a lot about Hezbollah and their storehouse of rockets. The IDF intelligence is now confirming details of not just transports from Iran into Lebanon to Hezbollah, but because of the ineffective ways that this has taken place, because Israel does bomb those transports, they've constructed a weapons factory now in Lebanon. And again, obviously, the Israelis are trying their best to bring this to the attention of the UN, but it is falling on deaf ears once again. You can read about the Gaza terror tunnels. IDF is warning the Hamas that they've invested notable efforts into countermeasures, I guess you would say, in the event of another war, and that they're letting Hamas knows that these tunnels that they have dug basically will become death traps for anyone who might seek to use them. Last February, there was a report in Israel in the media that said that Hamas had built at least 15 tunnels that actually extend from Gaza into Israel itself. The terror organization employs over 1,000 residents in Gaza to dig these illegal cross-border tunnels, and it spends, again, we talked about this last week, hundreds of thousands of dollars monthly on wages. Each one of these diggers get about $300 to $400 a month. So the warning's out there to anyone who might be listening. This is a tough one. There's a report out, and I feel like we need to give you the update on this report. It states that Israel and Hamas is on the verge of a prisoner exchange deal. Oren Shaul and Hadar Golden were killed in Operation Protective Edge. Hamas has their bodies and have refused up to this point to give the bodies back to the families. There's been a lot of back-channel negotiations that's been going on, and so this surfaced. But I have to warn our listeners, and I know that the Israelis are very much aware that this is often used by Hamas as psychological warfare, kind of dangling something out there just to bring it back, just to cause as much pain as they possibly can. So we'll wait and see on this, but I wouldn't hold my breath about that. You know, I've got quite a few other articles. There's one on Sderot. I'm only going to give you one more, so I'm going to give you headlines. There's one on Sderot. There's one on ISIS. Kind of the propaganda that's going on with not just Palestinian textbooks, but textbooks here in the States, and the percentages of U.S. students that are now pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel. They're staggering. Make sure you read that report. There was an archaeological find of mosaics up in the lower Galilee. It's, I think, the first time that the story of Jonah has been discovered, decorating the floor of a synagogue there. So check that out, and I'll get to that quote of the week. But the one thing that I wanted to bring up, I want you to hear this. This is what I call the plain truth. And this was the interrogation of a Palestinian terrorist that proves that the Palestinian authorities' payments motivate terror. The reason I want to share this is that it's the big bargaining chip. It's the one thing that Israel is saying, we cannot move forward unless terrorists are stopped being paid. So I want you to hear this interview. It's from our friends at the Palestinian Media Watch. It says, Palestinian terrorists, quote, I've accumulated large debts. If my son wants a shekel, I have nothing to give him. I decided to do something serious, such as committing murder, something in which I will both kill and die. And then my family will get money from the PA, and they will live comfortably. If I'm not able to kill soldiers, then I'll try settlers or guards. In other words, any Israeli target. The important thing is that I will die and they will kill me so that my children will receive an allowance and live happily. That's the plain truth. That's what motivates these terrorists to want to kill themselves, in a sense, because what it can do for their families, or at least the majority of them, in my opinion. So unless this funding stops, this is going to be a continual problem situation. So again, my quote of the week is it's the state of where we are today. You're going to see the picture of the Ten Commandments. It was a day after that this monument of the Ten Commandments was installed in Little Rock, Arkansas, that Michael T. Reed II drove his Dodge Dart into the 6-foot-tall, 6,000-pound granite slab, shattering it to pieces. And he live streamed this escapade on Facebook using a video camera inside of his car. And as he rammed into it, here's the quote, he cries out, "Oh my goodness, finally freedom." And then the car crashes into the monument. Freedom. We want to set ourselves free from the teachings, the commandments, the statutes of God. My friend, that will not bring you freedom. With that, that's this week's report. Check out our website. We've got a tour coming up, Off the Beaten Path. We hope you can join us. God bless you all, and shalom.